Okay, what's up, everyone? We're live on playback. It's good to see all of you this morning. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. This should be a good stream today. We're going to keep it really simple and we'll keep it short and sweet. We're talking about a few things today, in particular, the the Ohio State Illinois recap. We will also discuss the latest on Penn State and their free fall mode. Clearly out of the playoff picture now with a couple of losses. Suffered its third loss yesterday to Northwestern at home. In-state college, 22-21. As James Franklin was booed off the field. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the NLDS, the Cubs losing to the Brewers in 5 games after rallying from a 2 games to none series deficit. To force Game 5, but ultimately did not win Game 5 in a crushing defeat. Very, very tough loss for Chicago there. A team that was an upstart team, had Craig Counsell as manager, of course, and, you know, obviously went back to Milwaukee thinking that they could win, and they obviously did not win. So, congratulations to the Brewers there on that, advancing to the championship series to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. All right. Let's get started though with some particulars. Let's get started with this Illinois game yesterday. Stakes are pretty simple. Illinois comes in 5-1 on the year. All the momentum. They're riding high off back-to-back wins. Um, Purdue and USC, huge game. Ohio State, number one in the nation, obviously undefeated. They have the best receiver in the country, one of the best defenses in the country, if not the best defense in the nation, and of course Julian Zain at quarterback. Ohio State was dominant. They scored 21 points off turnovers yesterday. Had Luke Altmaier throw his first interception of the season. That's how good he's been quarterback efficiency wise. He only threw one pick yesterday. He did throw a touchdown though, which was good to see. So he upped his touchdown total. He now has 13 touchdowns on the season. Let's see. Ian Lawfrey scored his first rushing touchdown of the year. Of course, it comes against the number one team in the nation. So congrats to him. What else? What other highlights were there from this game? Just complete and utter lack of discipline. The kneeled punt, the kneel on the punt by the punter, which was a complete mistake. He knew it right away too that he made a mistake. It gave Ohio State a short field, and they scored off that. And then just the missed calls by the officiating crew, the pass interference call, um, the missed pass interference call on Ohio State, which should have given Illinois a first down. Justin Bowick's jersey was clearly tugged. It was the most obvious interference call ever. He was on his back. It became a viral photo, and obviously it became a viral video from the side of Brett Bielema, mouthing to the referee, "How can you not call that?" And he's right. He's absolutely right. Um, and he admitted at the post game press conference, which I attended yesterday, that they should have gone up tempo, or excuse me, tempo. I mean, in his words, the whole freaking game. And unfortunately, there was no follow up to why he didn't do that. I probably should have been the one to ask it, but nonetheless, though. By the way, those of you who obviously weren't in the press conference, which is many of you watching this stream right now, press conferences are not. Let me just say this: they are not. They're not. They're not the most. Not insightful, but they're not the most. I don't know, some press conferences that I don't want to accuse all of them. Some press conferences aren't the most question friendly. Some are. This one was extremely controlled, or at least it felt that way yesterday. A lot of the local guys went, asked their questions. I don't know. I mean, people were waiting to ask their. I could tell people were waiting to ask questions, and they couldn't. They couldn't, and that was the most disappointing part about this. But overall, though, I did think he mentioned some good things. He mentioned that, they need to get healthy. The bye comes at a good time this week. They go to Washington next week. So, All this is still for the taking, though. They have 5 games to go, or 5 games left in the season, so it remains to be seen. Thank you, Bo. Thanks, Bo. I just put a little butter on. Okay. Thank you, Mom. But nonetheless, though, was a rough loss. A game that hopefully Illinois learns from in some capacity because, sorry, I had my time. Okay. Nonetheless, though, it was a rough loss. Again, 34-16. Ohio State becomes bowl eligible. Illinois drops to 5-2 on the season. Not ideal. Not ideal whatsoever. And hmm. Where do you go? No, again, not an ideal game. Sold out crowd to at Memorial Stadium, 60,670, the 80th sellout all time at Geese Memorial Stadium. It was a great atmosphere. Saw a bunch of people I knew at this game, which was really cool. Um, yeah, I mean everybody was out in full force. I mean, all the alumni came back for this game. Juice Williams was there. Scott Turner was there. I'm sure there are others that Kurt Kittner showed up because he was inducted into the Hall of Fame the night before, which the Hall of Fame ceremony I didn't go to, because I was eating and I had a few other things I wanted to make sure I knocked off the list. But overall, though, it was a good time. Big Noon Kickoff was there. I didn't really see much of it because I did something a little bit unique. So I went down to the field to watch pregame warmups, and that was really cool. I never had really gone down to the field to watch all those pageantries play out. It's like a real scene. All the recruits come in. Um, some of them get interviewed by some of the reporters. I didn't interview any of them just because they were. It seemed like, they were just in their mode, and some of them had their headphones on, so it didn't really make sense. But it was cool though. I got to watch them warm up. I get to meet Jenny Taft, which is really really cool. Jenny Taft was extremely nice to me last year when I was previewing an XFC event. Their PR person at the time, who no longer works with XFC directly, he does some stuff within the parent company who oversees XFC now, doing some other projects. But he allowed me to interview her ahead of the fight, which was really cool. And I sent her a note last Thursday, which she didn't reply to, but she knew instantly who I was because she said, "Hey." And yeah, it was a really nice conversation. Just caught up. Obviously staying busy, traveling every week. They go to Ann Arbor next week for Michigan, Washington. So they're staying as busy as they can, and that's like a really cool part about it. Um, but yeah, meeting her was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. What else was there that I liked from the 48 hours I was there? I get a fun T-shirt with things I probably shouldn't repeat on here, but it was a fun T-shirt that uh basically says I'm an Illinois fan and you can't do anything about it. It's a pretty damn cool shirt to be honest with you. I thought it was hilarious. That was sold outside of Grange Grove. It was a guy who just did a bag and a small T-shirt company. So I said, "Hey, I'll take your shirt." It was kind of a cool shirt. It's one of those you can wear it to clown people. I guess it's cool front and back. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, so that was interesting. Um, what else was there from yesterday? I don't really talk about this. The food assortment in the press box. Let's talk about that. hot dogs, which were decent, chicken, which was all right, coleslaw, and then a crazy assortment of cookies. The cookies were good. There's obviously popcorn, and of course, there's frozen custard as well. It was decorated with Halloween themed decorations because we're getting closer to that time. So the press box knew what month it was, so that was kind of cool. Um, and yeah, the press box was full. Some huge names were there. Peach Bowl representatives made it. NFL scouts made it. I don't know if I should be saying the teams publicly, but I guess I will because they were visible. Bears, Cardinals, Jaguars, and Colts were the ones that I knew of that were there because they have a huge board that tells you who everybody is. And yes, I was on that board because it tells you every media member. Um, let's see. Um, what else was there yesterday? Watching Jeremiah Smith in warmups was pretty cool. He was catching everything. Watching Luke Altmaier warm up was cool. Although I didn't bother him, but he was like doing this exercise where he would throw balls at the wall, and I'm sure it was like a precision type exercise, or even get his arms loose too. It was kind of interesting. I'd never seen anything like it before. Um, what else was there on the field yesterday? Jordai, shout out to you for the fist bump. I appreciate that. He looked huge even in his pad, so that was cool. I think he even had a tackle yesterday too, which was even cooler. Um, what else was there yesterday? Hank Beatty in warmups looked really. I mean, everybody in warmups looked really good. I'll give them that. I thought it was going to be a close game. I thought it was going to be a really competitive game, a high scoring game. You name it. I thought it was going to be there, but unfortunately, it wasn't. Ohio State was just too good. Offense was too overpowering, and it was a lot for Illinois yesterday. A lot of just physicality mismatches, and the referees weren't great, and just the odds were stacked against them. It's as simple as that. There's a reason why the spread was 16 and a half. Ohio State barely covered it. Well, 16 and a half. It was 14 and a half on Novig. And speaking of Novig, because we haven't plugged Novig on this, let's do that. And I meant to do that earlier in the stream, but let's do it now. Now that I just mentioned Novig, it's actually a perfect segue to let you guys know of a good deal right now. So Zain Zinger Part 2 is powered by Novi, America's number one sports prediction market. Available right now in 35 states, including California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and New York. On Novi, you're 10 times more likely to win long term compared to a traditional sports book because you're playing against real users and not just the house. Sign up today and use the promo code ETB Network. That is ETB NETWORK for exclusive bonuses. All right. I think that's enough for Illinois, Ohio State. Let's get into the madness, though, that was Northwestern's upset over Penn State. Northwestern wins 22-21. Penn State's quarterback Drew Aller done for the season with an injury to his leg. Penn State now with 3 losses, lost 3 games in a row after starting 3-0 against nobodies. Let's be real. They've destroyed their 3 non-conference opponents in convincing fashion. Um, Oregon lost in overtime. UCLA lost by less than a touchdown. And then obviously yesterday, giving up the late touchdown to Northwestern with a couple minutes to go to lose that game at home, which puts them firmly out of the college football playoff discussion. The question now is, what are they going to do with James Franklin? Do they fire him? There's a good chance they probably will. I mean, at least I think they should. Um, I understand it's a $56 million buyout. That's the hefty price to pay for a coach that's been there a long time. So there's that as well. What I don't know though is how the fans will perceive Franklin being shown the door. I don't know, just because of how much success Penn State has had under him, despite not being able to win the big games. And now apparently he may not even be able to win the small games either. So that's something to bear in mind as well. I don't know. I don't know what the oh um I don't know I don't know what the I don't know rather what the what the outlook is going to be there. Sorry, I was searching for my words there. I don't know what the outlook was going to be there. But what I do know is it's a devastating loss. They're a 3-loss team now. Who knows if they even make a quality bowl game? I have no idea. I mean, let's take a look at the remaining schedule now with Aller out. I have no idea. In fact, it's even a great segue to that. All right. So Penn State 3-3, Northwestern 4-2, 2 wins away from a bowl game for David Braun for a team that was supposed to finish near the bottom of the conference. Okay, so Penn State goes to Iowa. Iowa just shut out Wisconsin 37 to nothing yesterday. Then Penn State goes to Ohio State, so I would say that's 2 losses right there. That's now a 3-5 football team. Indiana 3-6. Michigan State 4-6. Nebraska maybe 4-7. Oh no, I skipped one. So Iowa, they'll lose that, I think. It's at Kinnick Stadium. That'll be a hostile environment. That's next Saturday. Saturday Night Football, there's no way Penn State wins that game. I don't see it now with Aller done for the year. So Penn State loses that. So they're 3-4. They'll get pounded by Ohio State. Ohio State's the best team in the nation. 3-5. They'll get pounded by Indiana. Indiana proved why they're a top 4 team yesterday with a huge upset against Oregon. And then of course Michigan State, they'll win that. Michigan State's horrible, so they'll be 4-5. Nebraska, these last 2 games are critical because these last 2 games, if my prediction holds true, will show if they go to a bowl or not. Nebraska, I'd say they lose that game. They're playing good football, so we're sitting. Let's do this again. So 3-4, 3-5, 3-6, 4-6. So I'm gonna say 4-7, and Rutgers they'll win that. So I'm gonna say a very disappointing 5-7 season, no bowl game, with the potential that James Franklin gets fired. I mean, that's how this season is looking for the most part there. So not good in state college, sad valley, if you will, and not happy valley. It's been a rough couple weeks. It's been a rough couple weeks for Penn State, and I think it's only going to get worse. Congrats to David Braun though and company getting the win on the road, first time since 2014 that Northwestern has beat Penn State. So congratulations! Oh my goodness, that's a huge win. That's now 3 wins in a row for the Cats. They beat UCLA, Louisiana Monroe, and now Penn State. They come home for the final game ever at the temporary Lakefront Stadium in Evanston. More than likely, I will be in attendance. Northwestern hosts Purdue this Saturday, 2 p.m. kickoff. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a fun game. If Northwestern wins, they're on a doorstep of a bowl game. And now looking at where Northwestern is at this point in the year, let's take a look at their upcoming schedule. They'll win the Purdue game to get to 5-3. I think Nebraska is a little bit better, so I'm going to say they lose in Lincoln to sit at 5-4. They'll lose to USC to sit at 5-5. The Michigan game is now all of a sudden looking winnable as they were pounded by USC yet last night in the Coliseum. So that's a toss-up game there. I'm gonna say, okay, so I'm sorry, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4. So they'll win the next one. They'll drop the next two to sit at 5-4. I think they'll lose the Michigan game at Wrigley, and then I think they'll beat Minnesota. And man, that Illinois game, last game of the year, I think it's going to determine if they go to a bowl. I really do. So I think you're going to see a you're going to see a 5-6 if I do this correctly. So they'll be 5-2, lose the next 2 games, 5-3, 5-4. I'm going to say it's a toss up against Michigan, but we'll go 5-5. Minnesota, it could go one in two ways. They'll lose to Minnesota and they have to beat Illinois to go to a bowl, or they'll beat Minnesota to clinch a bowl, and they'll be looking for win number 7 against Illinois. So I'm going to say either way, they'll be 6-5 or 5-6 going into that last game in Champaign, where Northwestern will either need a win or they'll need one more win to clinch a bit of a better bowl game. My thought is that they will make a bowl with the remaining schedule they have and with the way they're playing. Preston Stone, very efficient, threw a really nice pass yesterday. Key one midpoint of the game to give Northwestern some momentum. But yeah, I actually think that this they have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 6 games left, and I think they have a chance to do okay. They could go 4-2 potentially in this stretch. But those toss-up games, to me, they're going to play Illinois really tough. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Northwestern knows a bowl is within their sights going into that last game. So Illinois game is going to be tough. The Minnesota game, Minnesota's a good team. Michigan, they're more than likely going to drop in the rankings or to be completely out of it after getting destroyed last night. So Michigan, that's another toss-up because I don't know what Michigan team will show up. Northwestern will be the underdog in that game. That's for sure. That's not even a question. The question is going to be though is how much of an underdog will they be going in? The only 2 games I see that are guaranteed losses in the remaining 6 are Nebraska and USC. Because going to Lincoln's tough, and USC, they've been playing really good football. They have a huge game this weekend against Notre Dame. If they win that game, they're still very much in the thick of the college football playoff picture. If they lose the game, however, though, I'm not so sure because they'll be looking at the resume heavily there. USC, though, did get a nice win. They're sitting at 5-1. Can they go 10-2 and make the playoff? I don't know. If it's between a 10-2 Illinois and a 10-2 USC, though, I think a 10-2 Illinois probably goes because Illinois beat USC head to head. But I don't know. I don't know. Those are all great questions. So that remains to be seen as well. All right, let's move on now. We have a few minutes left. Don't want to dwell up too much on this. Let's go over NFL survivors now. Last week we didn't do so great in the survivor spectrum. We're out of the survivor pool on ESPN, and Denver is barely beating the Jets in the third quarter. We like Denver early today. That's the international game right now. We like Denver in that game. What else is there? Oh, let's go over the rest of them. So I like the Colts, the Rams, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Cowboys, Seattle, the Rams, the Raiders, the Packers, Buccaneers, Kansas City, the Bills, and the Commanders. Those are my survivor picks for this week. All right, and then let's take a look at these. We actually did horrible. We lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row at one point. We had a really bad week. We went 11-13. But we're still sitting pretty at 92-80 for the year, so that's 12 above 500. We will take that any day of the week. Let's take a look at the other games I'm in. So this is on ESPN now. We went 5-5 on ESPN straight up. And how do we do against the spread? We're 10 above the spread. We also went 5-5 on the spread as well this week. So we're 40-30 against the spread on ESPN, 30-30 overall. 30-30 overall. What do you call it? Straight up there. So not great, not good. And then very briefly, UFC Rio. Charles Oliveira, I correctly predicted a second round submission over Mateus Gamrot to extend his submissions record, his finishes record, you name it. He extended a bunch of records last night in Rio, gets a huge win, wants Max Holloway next for the BMF title in big fights only. That was his request to Hunter Campbell. and company as well. So that should be interesting if that fight were to happen. Tough loss for Gamrot. A good card overall, though. Again, I went 7-5, but the main card had some really exciting fights on there. Speaking of, how did I do on the main card? Let's actually take a look at that. I think I did really well. Let's see. On the main card, I went 3-2, and I correctly predicted all three fights exactly on the main card that I got right. So that's actually not bad. So I went 7-5 overall, as I said. Hit on some big ones. Oliveira by submission, that hit. Figueiredo by decision, that hit. Um, and the Alvarez by decision, that also hit. So I actually did pretty decent. So I was pretty happy about that. But yeah, that's gonna do it though for another edition of Zain Zinger Part 2. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. It was a fun stream. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week for Bando's breakdowns, Blitz, and so much more.